What's up? What's up? It's the one and only 5D Attraction. I'm back. Like I never left, man. And let's just get right into it. When it comes to this game, you know what I mean, and really chopping this up. One thing I wanted to touch on in this video is that there's a difference between what I like to call the yin and yang of getting abundance in your life when it comes to that the abundance of beauty and having options and partners and people who can assist your life. And then the ones that aren't, you let them go because you have options. That's what it's really all about. Now, there's two different ways in which you get your options. You have one way that's the yin, which is the attracting. You can say that's aligned with feminine energy as well. It's the yin, the feminine energy way of getting what it wants, and that's through attraction. So there's certain things that you'll do in that situation. The number one thing when it comes to attracting is it's all about how you look, right? It's all about how you take care of yourself. So when you step out into the environment, you want to look as good as possible. So as a guy, what are some things you would do, right? Like for women, they put on their makeup, they go out wearing their nice outfit, they're wearing things to accentuate their body to get men's attention, right? For guys, your body plays a big role. You know what I mean? When you step out there, your body being on point is something that's key. You know what I mean? And then your communication. Like when we talk about attraction, it's how you carry yourself. And it's not just words. I'm talking about how you walk, how you move through the environment. A big part of attraction, right? Like a big tip for you guys is like, when you see a beautiful girl, you give her one good look just to let her know that y'all see each other. Then you look away and then you just do your thing. But then you give her an opportunity to think about you, to try to get your attention. So with attraction, a big part of it is being magnetic, allowing things to play out, without forcing anything. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you at a restaurant, you work at a restaurant, and it's this real beautiful girl that you want to talk to. When you're operating from the yin, from the attraction, a smart thing to do is to just look as good as possible when you go to work. Be cool, but don't say anything to her, right? Or if you do, you might just give her a nod versus just trying to have a full conversation, right? Because then eventually you mind your business, you're doing whatever you're doing, and then she goes, who's that guy? Especially if you're cool, you over here talking to other people. You know what I mean? You got good rapport in there. They're eventually gonna wonder, who is this guy? That's you doing attraction. You know what I mean? You're putting yourself in that position and allowing her to choose. So that's how a woman chooses, is basically you putting yourself in position, looking as good as possible, having charisma or whatever energy you have that stands out, and she's gonna choose. Now, when you're pursuing, which is the yang, you're in a different mindset. Now you operating from the numbers game. You know what I mean? The numbers game is gonna reward you when you operating from the yang. And that's all about making things happen. So the minute you see a beautiful person, you approach and have a conversation. The way that you do it right is through conversation. It's not through choosing up super hard, like, hey, what's your name? You look so fine. Like, it's hey, how you doing? Yeah, sorry, you caught my attention. Are you from this area, whatever? Oh, boom, boom. Well, you look sweet, man. Maybe we can exchange contacts. Boom. In and out. You're gonna get some girls that aren't with it. You're gonna get some that are. But the ones that are, it's just like sales, strong leads that you get. And then you can set up meetups. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of both of these. When we talk about approaching, the benefit is you control your destiny, which is hence it's connected to masculine energy. It's the yang force. You are controlling your approaches. So, it puts you in the driver's seat. You control your destiny. And based on the numbers game, there is a law. I don't want to give away too much, but there's a law that basically makes it automatic that if you respect the law of numbers, if you respect the numbers game, you inevitably will have whatever it is that you want. So You do that, you're focused on the one that you get versus the ones you didn't. The ones that you didn't get, you closer to the one you're gonna get. You know what I mean? That's how the game works. So that's the key. Is you control your destiny. You end up picking up this large amount of masculine energy because you're pursuing, you're approaching. So you build more masculine energy, more confidence. Your communication increases because you're used to using your mouthpiece every day. And honestly, you begin to build this masculine energy and this force where the people around you even, they feel it. They're like, oh man, they start going smack. You really put yourself in a position where, women can melt into you because they see that you are confident, that you are, up to speed, that you're sharp. So that's big. The only negative though that I have encountered when I'm fully in this mode is you don't get the chance to get women to approach you. You a lot of the time can be in a scenario where you're the one on the offensive, which is a little different than when the women are coming after you, because women choose, and when they choose, it's easy. But I honestly think you gotta have some of that yang game. You gotta have some of that game in order to even close the deal. Because you might have women that are attracted to you, but how would it matter unless you get their number and set up a meetup and make things happen? And that's where you need that yang. Now, when it comes to the feminine side, the yin side, the beauty of that is when women like you, they really like you because they're choosing up on you. They think you're very attractive. You also get in a different state of mind. I noticed that when you're in the yang, you're a little bit more focused on closing the deal. Whereas when you're in the yin, when you're, focused on attracting, you might be a little bit more picky. You might be, have more expectations, more standards. The ball is in your court whenever she does start talking to you because she wants you. But the only thing about that is there's a lot of times you're going to miss opportunities. You're going to miss situations because you want everything to come to you. And in most cases, you got to create the action. You got to make things happen. So if you wait around for girls to get at you, you're going to be waiting around for a long time in a lot of cases. You know what I mean? And then at the end of the day, the other con is, look, bro, what if you're not attractive? If you're not an attractive person, look, the good thing about the attraction element is because you're not immediately approaching, if she gets to know your personality, she can build attraction for you. Especially if you work at a place with somebody and things like that. But the number one basis when it comes to this is you gotta start figuring out how to be attractive. And that's why in this show we talk about 5D attraction, because I give a lot of game on how to approach and how to do these type of things. But you gotta really start with attraction, in my opinion. Like, you're doing it right when you're getting looks from women. People will say, oh, you just genetically this and that. No, because if you understand the work that people put in to look attractive, because at the end of the day, no matter how attractive a guy is that you're looking at, everybody can let themselves go. Everybody can get big. And I'll tell you right now, if I was a obese person or was very big, it would completely kill my whole look. Like, I have to work to keep my look. I have to get my shape ups. I have to stay cleaned up. I have to take care of my skin. I have to take care of things. Because that's what you do when you're in the game. And if you want to be in the game, it all begins with taking care of yourself and attraction. Otherwise, to me, you're not even in the game if you're not taking care of yourself. You know what I mean? So you got to really respect that element of attraction. Get back in your mode of sitting on the throne and getting girls to choose. But the real key, and this is what I'm going to close out with, is like you need both sides, period. You need both sides. You got to know how to attract and do the yang. And then you also got to know how to do the yin. I think every man should go through a period of time where they understand how to approach and attract and what to say to get women to come to you. You got to have that time where you're really in your masculine power from a place of pursuing and being able to make things happen and make connections happen. It just is a gene. It's a certain kind of element you got to have to your game. And then you also want to balance that with the attraction side, where you got your standards, where you can let things miss you, where you're not forcing, where you posing to get chose. All right. So that's my message to y'all, man. I'm back at it. It's 5D Attraction. If you got any questions, send it to the Gmail, your 5D transformations at gmail.com. Also, keep in mind that we got the Patreon with all the courses on there and all the in the Pyramidion program. If you want any one-on-one coaching, reach out to me at my email. You'll see the link in the bio. And aside from that, man, I'll see you in the next video.